Airports are full of goodbyes. Tearful embraces, whispered promises, last kisses before deployment. But in the chaos of Gate 47 at Chicago O'Hare, one goodbye went terribly, beautifully wrong. Sergeant Jake Matthews hugged the wrong woman, grabbed the wrong bag, and set in motion a chain of events that would save 2 lives and heal 2 broken hearts. Because sometimes the universe corrects our mistakes in ways we never see coming. The announcement crackled through Gate 47 speakers. Final boarding call for Flight 2847 to San Diego. Jake Matthews felt his chest tighten. 36 hours. That's all the emergency leave he'd been granted. 36 hours to fly home, hold his daughter one more time, and somehow find the words to tell an 8-year-old girl that everything would be okay, even though the doctors said it wouldn't. Emma. His little girl. Leukemia had stolen her hair, her energy, her childhood. But it hadn't stolen her smile. Not yet. And Jake needed to see that smile one more time. Just in case. His hands shook as he pulled the letter from his jacket pocket. He'd written it on the flight from Germany, pouring everything he couldn't say into ink on paper. Every, "I love you," he'd never said enough. Every moment he'd missed. Every promise he'd broken by choosing the army over bedtime stories. Dear Emma, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get to say these words in person. Jake folded the letter carefully and tucked it into the front pocket of his military duffel bag. Then he stood, scanning the crowded gate for Emily, his wife. She'd texted that she was running late, caught in traffic, but she'd make it. She always made it. Then he saw her. Brown coat. Dark hair pulled back. Standing near the window, back turned, phone pressed to her ear. Relief flooded through him. "Em," he called out, but his voice was lost in the chaos of announcements and crying children and rolling suitcases. The final boarding call echoed again. Jake didn't have time. He rushed forward, dropped his duffel beside her identical black carry-on, and wrapped his arms around her from behind. If you believe in second chances, in the power of mistakes that become miracles, and in stories that restore your faith in human connection, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because every view helps these stories reach the hearts that need them most. "I love you, Em," Jake whispered into her hair, his voice breaking. "I'll be home soon. I promise. Tell Emma I'm coming. Tell her Daddy's coming home." The woman stiffened, turned, and Jake's heart stopped. This wasn't Emily. This woman's face was Asian, her eyes red from crying, her expression a mixture of confusion and shock. She opened her mouth to speak, but Jake had already stumbled backward, horror flooding his face. I'm so sorry. I thought, my wife." He looked around frantically. Where was Emily? Where? Sergeant Matthews. Final boarding. A gate agent called his name sharply. Jake grabbed what he thought was his duffel bag, muttered another apology to the stunned woman, and sprinted toward the gate. His heart hammered. His face burned with embarrassment. But he couldn't miss this flight. Emma was waiting. He didn't look back. Didn't see the woman standing frozen, staring after him. Didn't see her pick up the bag he'd left behind, his actual duffel. Didn't know that he'd just grabbed hers. And neither of them knew that this mistake would change everything. Sarah Chen stood alone at Gate 47, trembling. The soldier's words echoed in her mind. "Tell Emma I'm coming. Tell her Daddy's coming home." Emma. That name. That name she hadn't spoken aloud in 5 years. Sarah looked down at the military duffel bag in her hand. This wasn't hers. Hers was. She turned, scanning the gate, but the soldier was gone. Boarded. Flying to San Diego to see his daughter. His daughter named Emma. Sarah's legs felt weak. She sat down heavily, clutching the bag, her mind spinning back 5 years to the worst decision of her life. The adoption papers. The daughter she'd given up because she was 19, alone, and terrified. The daughter she'd named Emma before they took her away. "Stop," Sarah whispered to herself. "It's just a name. A common name. It's not. It can't be." But her hands were already unzipping the bag. She knew she shouldn't. Knew it was wrong. But something deeper than logic drove her fingers to search through military uniforms and travel documents until they found it. A letter. Folded carefully. Addressed in neat handwriting, to my daughter, Emma Rose Matthews. Sarah's world tilted. Emma Rose. Her daughter's middle name had been Rose. She'd insisted on it. Even at 19, even terrified, she'd fought for that one thing. Rose. After her grandmother. With shaking hands, Sarah unfolded the letter and began to read. Dear Emma. If you're reading this, it means I didn't get to say these words in person. I'm writing this at 35,000 feet, flying home to you from Germany, praying I'll make it in time. The doctors say you're getting weaker. They say the treatments aren't working the way they hoped. And I know you're scared, baby girl. I know you don't understand why this is happening to you. But I need you to know something. You are the bravest person I've ever known. Braver than any soldier I've served with. Every day you wake up and fight this battle with a smile that lights up the whole world. Your mom tells me you still ask about the stars, about the planets, about whether there are other little girls up there looking down at us. I hope there are, sweetheart. I hope you get to meet them someday. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for your 8th birthday. I'm sorry I missed your first day of 3rd grade. I'm sorry I've missed so many moments because I thought serving my country was the most important thing I could do. I was wrong. You are the most important thing. And if I don't make it home in time, if these are the last words I get to say to you, I need you to know, you are loved beyond measure. You are my heart walking around outside my body. And wherever you go next, I'll find you. I promise. Love forever and always. Daddy. Sarah couldn't breathe. Tears streamed down her face, blurring the words. This man. This soldier. He was racing home to say goodbye to his dying daughter. A daughter named Emma Rose. And Sarah had his bag. Had his letter. The letter that might be his last words to his child. But it was the next part, the medical documents tucked beneath the letter, that made Sarah's heart stop completely. Patient name, Emma Rose Matthews. Date of birth, March 14, 2016. Place of birth, Chicago, Illinois. Adoption records, sealed. March 14, 2016. That was her daughter's birthday. The daughter she'd given up 5 years ago at Chicago General Hospital. The daughter the social worker had promised would go to a good family. A loving family. A family named Matthews. Before we continue, pause for just a moment. Comment below. Have you ever felt the universe was trying to tell you something? Have you ever experienced a coincidence so powerful it felt like fate? Share your story, we're listening. Sarah's hands shook so violently she nearly dropped the documents. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. The daughter she'd spent 5 years trying to forget, trying to move on from, was dying. And her father, the man who'd raised her, loved her, fought for her, was flying home right now with the wrong bag. Without his letter. Without the medical documents he'd need. Without anything. Sarah made a decision in that moment. A decision that terrified her. She pulled out her phone and called the airline. I need to book the next flight to San Diego. Now. Today. Jake Matthews landed in San Diego and went straight to Children's Hospital. His wife Emily met him in the lobby, her face pale, her eyes red. She fell into his arms, and this time, he held the right woman. She's asking for you, Emily whispered. She's been asking all day. They walked together to room 412. Jake's heart was breaking with every step. But when he pushed open the door and saw Emma, tiny, bald, but smiling, he forced himself to smile back. Daddy. Emma's voice was weak but filled with joy. Jake sat beside her bed, took her small hand in his. Hi, baby girl. I'm here. Daddy's here. Did you bring me something from Germany? Emma asked, her eyes bright despite her exhaustion. Jake's face fell. The bag. He'd grabbed the wrong bag. All of Emma's presents, All the things he'd carefully chosen were gone. Worse, the letter. The letter he'd wanted to read to her. The letter that said everything he needed to say. Sweetheart, there was a mix-up at the airport. But I'll get you something even better, I promise. A knock at the door interrupted him. A nurse poked her head in. Mr. Matthews? There's a woman here to see you. She says it's urgent. She says she has your bag. Jake's head snapped up. What? A moment later, Sarah Chen stepped into the room. She was holding his duffel bag, her face streaked with tears, her hands shaking. Her eyes went immediately to Emma, and a sob escaped her lips. You're the woman from the airport, Jake said, standing. I'm so sorry about. Is this your daughter? Sarah interrupted, her voice barely a whisper. Emma Rose Matthews. Jake's face hardened protectively. How do you know her name? Sarah held out the bag. I read your letter. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have, but She stopped, took a breath. Mr. Matthews, I need to ask you something. Was Emma adopted? Emily stood up sharply. Who are you? How dare you? Please, Sarah begged, tears streaming freely now. Please just answer. Was she adopted? 5 years ago. From Chicago General Hospital. Jake and Emily exchanged glances. Slowly, Jake nodded. Yes. She was 3 days old. The adoption agency said her birth mother was young, couldn't keep her, wanted her to have a better life. We've loved her every day since. I know, Sarah whispered. I know you have. I can see it. I can see how much you love her. She took a step closer. Mr. Matthews. Mrs. Matthews. My name is Sarah Chen. And 5 years ago, I gave birth to a baby girl at Chicago General Hospital. I was 19. I was alone. I was terrified. And I named her Emma Rose before they took her away. The room went silent. The only sound was the beeping of Emma's monitors. Emily's voice broke. You're her birth mother? Sarah nodded, unable to speak. Jake stared at her, his mind reeling. This is impossible. What are the odds? I don't know, Sarah said. But I hugged you by accident at an airport. I took your bag by accident. I read your letter by accident. And I found out my daughter, the daughter I gave up, the daughter I've thought about every single day for 5 years, is dying. Her voice cracked. Nothing about this is an accident. This is fate. This is the universe giving me one chance to meet her. One chance to tell her I'm sorry. One chance to. She couldn't finish. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Emma, who had been listening with wide, confused eyes, spoke up in her small voice. Are you my tummy mommy? Sarah looked up, tears streaming down her face. Yes, sweetheart. I am. Mommy told me about you, Emma said. She said you loved me so much you gave me to them so I could have a better life. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. Emma smiled. That same smile that Jake had flown across the world to see. Did it hurt? When you gave me away? Every day, Sarah whispered. Every single day. Emma reached out her small hand. You can hold my hand if you want. It helps when things hurt. And Sarah Chen, who had spent 5 years running from her grief, finally stopped running. She took her daughter's hand, and for the first time since that hospital room 5 years ago, she let herself feel everything she'd been holding back. If this story is touching your heart, please don't scroll past. Like, share, and subscribe so more people can experience stories that remind us we're all connected in ways we can't see. What happened next wasn't a miracle cure. Emma didn't suddenly get better. But something shifted. Sarah stayed. She stayed through treatments, through hard nights, through moments of despair. She stayed not as a replacement for Emily, but as another person who loved Emma with her whole heart. And when Emma asked about her adoption, about why Sarah gave her up, Sarah told her the truth. I was young and scared. But I wanted you to have everything I couldn't give you. And look, you got the best parents in the world. Emma smiled. Now, I have 3 parents. 6 months later, Emma's leukemia went into remission. The doctors called it unexpected. The family called it a miracle. But Jake knew better. He knew that sometimes healing doesn't come from medicine. It comes from love. From connection. From the universe bringing broken pieces together in ways that make them whole. The letter Jake had written, the one he thought he'd lost, now hung framed in Emma's room. Next to it, Sarah had written her own letter. A letter she'd been carrying in her heart for 5 years. Dear Emma Rose, I gave you away because I loved you. I found you again because fate wouldn't let me forget. And now, watching you fight, watching you smile, watching you live, I know I made the right choice. You were always meant to be theirs. But maybe, just maybe, you were always meant to be mine too. Love always. Your tummy mommy, Sarah. And Emma, who loved both her mothers and her father with all her brave little heart, kept both letters close. Because she understood something most adults forget. Love doesn't divide when it's shared. It multiplies. If this story moved you, leave a comment. What's one coincidence in your life that felt like fate? Share your story below. Sometimes the universe is speaking. We just need to listen.